Hello guys, we are still in modern day Turkey at the ancient town named Issus, and this is the year after Granicus, 333 BC, and this is of course Alexander the Great, who we are following right now, and another big famous battle happening here. So what do we see here then? Well, after the Battle of Granicus, which we played last time, which was a fine victory for Alexander, he managed to overthrow those satraps who did gather up a defense against him, and after he won that battle, he pretty much had, you know, free hands to roam around in Asia Minor, and so he did. And he put some effort to conquer and besiege the coast cities in the Mediterranean, just to hinder the Persians to have a good place for anchoring their big fleet who were present there. So during the time when Alexander made these campaigns in Asia Minor, back close to Babylon, the High King Darius III thought, okay, it's time for me to take control of the army, and so he gathered up a new big army from all the parts of the Achaemenid Empire, and I think actually that the symbol that we see here from the victory banners, they're a symbol for the Achaemenid Empire. I think it was the guy before Darius, Cyrus or Pyrrhus, or how you want to pronounce it, who you know, made this emblem as the mark of that empire. This is a kind of a guardian angel or something like that from the ancient times. So that's pretty cool. They use that as the victory banner here. Anyway, King Darius did draft up a new army and then start moving towards Alexander. Alexander got news of that new gathering army. I mean, there's a debate on how big this army was, I read about numbers ranging from 40,000 to I think several 100,000, but I think the accepted or one accepted fact is that there were about 100,000 men here. Some more, some less perhaps, but somewhere there is probably likely. And I mean, Alexander's army was not that big. It was not, I don't believe it was even half of that, maybe some 30,000-40,000 perhaps. And so he learned that Darius had gathered this force and started to march towards him. And he had sent actually Parmenio as an avant-garde to hold some mountain passes there so Darius couldn't just take those strategic places. So at one point then, the armies camped, well, not close by, but relatively close, and it was imminent that there would be a clash soon. So Alexander started moving south to join, I guess, Parmenio to had his main army in one complete force here to meet the Persians. And well, Darius of course saw that, well, that was not that of a suitable place to bring this big army into an attack, because they were holding on to these mountain passes there. So what he did was to instead start marching north around that mountain that Alexander's army was holding the passes through. So instead of taking the route by the sea, he marched north, more inland, around the mountain. I think perhaps this mountain range could be Amanus mountain range, and for some reason, I don't really know why, but Alexander didn't really react. Maybe he didn't had some any reliable scouts out there reporting to him about this, but as it were, Darius suddenly appeared in Alexander's rear, actually up north, and they say actually that Darius, when he cut off the supply lines and got to the cities where Alexander has or had left, the sick and wounded from previous efforts, and it said that Darius' army cut off the hands of all the prisoners they took along that route. So Alexander started to march northwards to meet him then, and as it were, Darius, well, he wanted a big place so he could develop his big army into a long array battle line. But unfortunately for him, the encounter took place here close to Issus along the Pinarus River, and this is a pretty narrow path. I've seen some pictures of the place where they think the battle went, and it's quite narrow, especially if you think you want to array with some 100,000 men there. So apparently he could not do that because he couldn't, of course, deploy at least not heavier troops up in the mountains. And here we see, the Mediterranean Sea, so it's a cramped place here. And but he did as good as he could. He placed his. He still had some Greek mercenaries, quite a number of them actually. I don't think they were under Memnon anymore, as we saw in Granicus, but so I don't know who was the commander of those Greeks, but there was fairly many Greeks here in the Persian army. And then he placed his best units there, the Greeks. We have some immortals, and we have these royal horse here, the heavies, and Darius himself here with the immortals. And actually he had to array the infantry line into two lines to get room for all the troops. And he put his most of his horse on his right hand side here to crush the enemy horse. And up in the mountains some lighter troops, and he was actually planning to do some flank attacks here. So he had some troops up in the mountains here. We really don't see that in this setup. I thought there would be some troops up here actually who could threaten the flank of Alexander, but as it went, Alexander of course arrayed his heavies phalanxites in the center. Parmenia with some cavalry. I think it was very many Thessalian cavalry here, and he just had the task of holding back the Persians as long as possible here and do some perhaps doing some retreats. There's also a small reserve here that Alexander kept back here with infantry. And then on the right hand side up against the mountains he had some lighter troops and also some skirmishers here, but I think these guys are the Hypaspists, the shield bearers or what they were called. These are the guys who had their main task was to protect the flanks of the phalanxes here, the Macedonian phalanxes, who were really vulnerable to side attacks because of the big sarissas and pointing forward and not that mobile. So they needed flank support, and that was the Hypaspists' task. And they were actually quite heavily armed as well. They were, I think they were kind of a hoplite armed troops. So those guys were protecting the flanks of those guys to also to screen off these Persian troops in the mountains. So what happened was that Alexander started to press on with these phalanx in the center. At the same time, about Nabarzanes here, I think, pressed on with his cavalry and attacked the Greek cavalry, or the Macedonian cavalry. And they were really, they had to fight hard to keep those guys back, because these guys had a lot more of cavalry than the Greeks had. And I think there was not that much action in the beginning here, but as the phalanxes approached the Greek phalanxes here on the river, they had some hard time actually, because the Greeks had prepared a position on the river banks, good defensive position. So apparently very many Macedonians fell here and was kind of pushed back actually. They couldn't cross the river and get really onto the Greeks here and break the line here. So at that point the pacifists did some attack up on the hills, and they actually managed to break a hole in the line here against the lighter Persian left flank, and that opened up a gap for Alexander and his cavalry here, his companion cavalry, to attack the Greeks on the riverbank from the side and perhaps rear as well. So they more or less panicked, started to retreat, and that was also too much for Darius. So he actually fled from the battle here at this point. And when the Persian horse and other troops saw that happening, okay, the High King was gone, this must mean we have lost the battle, it just went into a complete rout, and all of the Persian army disappeared from the field. Alexander and the companions and other cavalry pursuing slaughtered many of the Persian army troops during the way, and well, eventually a big victory was won. And one interesting fact is that when Alexander did this attack on the Greek mercenaries' flank, and Darius was about to flee at that point when he saw that his Greeks was breaking up, Alexander had the choice, right? He could pursue Darius and get him, and that would have been a devastating blow to the Persians, or he could help his troops and instead attack the Greeks in the side and rear to finish the job of breaking the Persian army, and he chose the latter. He took the battle to the Greeks here and let Darius flee from the field. But anyway, I think Alexander got some prominent prisoners here. I think it was actually Darius' wife, his mother, and also, was it 2 daughters, I think, who went to be prisoners for Alexander. And as a matter of fact, Alexander did marry one of the Darius' daughters later on. Very interesting. So that's basically it for the historical part of this. So let's take a look at the war council. So we have, of course, Alexander leading the Macedonian army. He has 6 command cards. We have High King Darius III with 4 command cards, and the Macedonians we will see move first. And this is a really big one. I mean, we need 8 banners to win the game. For the special rules, the Pinarus River is fordable with no battle dice reductions. Interesting. So you still need to stop when you enter a river hex, but there's no reduction in dice here, as it is usually on fordable rivers. And I will of course treat that hex as an impossible one because it contains the Mediterranean Sea. Then we have this Alexander rule. Any unit is attached to will battle with 1 additional die. The Greek companion cavalry We saw that rule already previously, so you know they can ignore one sword symbol and they can ignore one flag. Then we have the Persian Immortals located there, just behind the Greeks. They work as a standard medium-heavy infantry, but they also are equipped with bows, so they can do a 3 hex range fire as well, which is really cool. So that's it. So let's look at the troops on the field. Okay, so here, as you can see, there's lots of troops. This is a fairly big one. I mean, loads of units on the board, loads of terrain as well. So let's start to check out the Persian army. So we have on the left hand side we have the more lighter troops that Darius did deploy on his left. So we got loads of auxiliaries, actually 4 of them here, and behind them is a bow unit and then a medium heavy cavalry. So we have a bit of a strike forces as well, together with this cavalry along with those auxiliaries could also manage in close combat pretty well. They have 3 dice. And moving toward the center, we see the heavy part of Darius' line, at least for the infantry, and we see those Greek medium heavy infantry up on the river. They have a leader with them, an unnamed one. I don't really know if that's a Greek one or a Persian general or whatever. I don't know. But there we have them, at least 3 medium heavy troops. Then just behind them, the second line here, we have some bows, and here we have the Immortals. So that's medium heavy infantry with that bow capability. And here's also Darius III. And here we have the Royal Horse, so it's a heavy cavalry unit here. Really good striking force as well. And you know, those could be really good here because they can move too as well. And just behind them here, I think there's some reserves Darius left here. Not sure if those gonna see any action, let's see, but we have 3 light infantry units way back here on the baseline. In front of Darius, the Greeks, or not directly in front, but on the section lines here, we have 2 light, no, it's actually slinger units. Yeah. And then Darius right, and here we have loads of cavalry. We have light cavalry, medium heavy, and 2 more of the light one here. And this line is accompanied with what was his name? Nazarbanes or something like that? Let me check. Nabarzanes. Okay, and then we have some auxiliary infantry here, and as we already saw, there's some slinger here as well, straddling on the center and right hand side here. So that's it, and this is a fairly big one, and yeah, how to play with the Persians then? Well, I mean, in terms of skirmishing power, we are stronger, especially can get the bows up here. So in the center, I'm gonna stay quite passive with Darius, try to maybe put up some, maybe the Immortals, bring them to the first line, also the bows, so I can get some fire up there for the approaching phalangites coming there. And then on the flanks, I think I'm gonna go a bit more aggressive if the cards permit. So, but still cautiously, because we can get hurt pretty hard if we are not cautious. So I think I will move these lighter auxiliaries here along the mountain range here, and try to, you know, attack or pour in some missile fire when I can, and also get that bow unit into a firing position if possible. On the right hand side maybe we could get a bit more aggressive, but okay, we have a big advantage in the number of cavalry here. Actually 2 to 1 if you just count the cavalry, but it's not really that strong anyway. I mean, it's 3 lights and 1 medium heavy. I mean, the Greeks have 1 light and 1 medium heavy, and they are supported by quite some dangerous infantry here. There's a phalanx there, a Macedonian phalanx there, and heavy infantry, so that's really dangerous if they catch us. So I don't know, I should be a bit aggressive here, I guess, but I don't know. Do I dare to attack? But I think the key to victory for Persians is to win the flanks here, so maybe I'm gonna be a bit bold here with the cavalry, could be. Or just stay a bit out of range and pour some missile fire with those lighter cavalry units we have. I mean, we can always evade when if the heavies or the medium heavies back there comes at us. So that's the plan. Stay a bit put here, try to get some missile fire on the approaching Macedonians. We know they're gonna come, and be a bit more aggressive on the flanks and try to envelop this Macedonian army here and put them in a sack. For Alexander's part then, well, what to do? I think, as I said, we are a bit inferior in skirmishing power, so I think it's gonna be just start marching forward with a whole bunch of units, keeping an eye on the flanks, and probably keeping these light troops, because we know the Persians have lots of skirmishing power here. So I wanted perhaps to keep the lights in front of my line as long as possible, so they can screen and take the hits. So our phalanxes are intact when they reach the line, because if we can manage with that, I think we can make minced meat of these resistance up here, even though they are tough guys waiting for us, but we are even tougher here with those phalanxes. And I guess we're gonna need that 1-2 in the center battle here. So I might start marching that towards the centers as well. It depends a bit, because we can never catch the Persian cavalry anyway with these guys. And then we can be a bit more flexible with the medium heavies here. Those could support the flank here to hold the Persian cavalry off, so they don't get in our backs and start hindering our retreat paths here. That's very important. We want to be able to retreat if you get the flags with those phalanxes. And on this hand, maybe if we get the time, I think we're just gonna march with the phalanxes here, keeping that flank secure, and Alexander can strike really hard if he needs to at some point. So I think that's gonna be it. Pretty simple plan, but there's a few things to think about during the gameplay, I'm sure of that. So that's it. So I don't think there's much more to bring up before we start to play. So let's start the fun. So it's Alexander who starts first. So here's the initial hand of the Macedonians. Gonna try to organize this a bit. Do it like this. I have to remember this. So it's 4 units left, which is up there. Here's 2 units order mounted, counterattack, allied troops, and 2 units center. And well, not that much in the center, to be honest, right? So we had that 2 unit, but that's not a big one. It would be nice to have a a line command or something. I could start moving forward the whole army. That was what I was expecting, but that didn't appear. So what I'm gonna do is to start off with some skirmishing here. So I will order my light troops, that would be 6 of them, because I have a big bunch already in range here. So that's 4. Let's start moving forward these guys as well. So those guys will actually move. These guys moves up here, you cannot fire by that. These guys move here, he's now actually in range. Those guys. And these guys doesn't move at all, they just start the battle with some heavy skirmishing here. So let's see what happens. So we start with those lights. They throw the javelins against the slingers here. I hope I don't get any flags now. I didn't, but I didn't get any hits either. So, kind of a waste. Let's take those auxiliaries, so it's 1 die. And that's a hit. Goodie. And then we still have a bowfire, and those guys actually have several targets. We could actually start targeting those Greeks there. Or we could hammer on onto these lights. It's a difficult one. I think I may... No, let's try on those Greeks. I want to soften up those heavies before we... or medium heavies before we approach. So it's 2 dice. Looking for blue. No. We should have targeted that slinger anyway. Well. Here we do the same procedure. We throw our javelins against those slingers on the right flank. And okay, we got actually 2 flags by that hit. So let's see, I think those gonna survive, but they will get all the way to the baseline, I guess. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. They need to retreat 4 hexes, 2 per flag. But they had a good path to do that, so they got really scared off here. Then with the bow unit, and let's try with those Greeks again. It's 2 dice. 1 flag and 1 hit. Good. Got the first Greek mercenaries down. And let's see about that leader. He's good, but barely. And they can of course ignore that flag. They can ignore 2 flags actually. They are supported and they have a leader with them. So no problem there, because they cannot really retreat right now. But that was a good fire from the bowman. Really good. So I guess I could be happy with that start of the light troops. Let's hope Alexander gets a line command or something so he can start moving forward his main army here. Okay, now it's the Persians. Let's see if we can implement our plan here. So we have a dark in the sky, but well, previously we had some more troops in range, but that's not the case anymore. We only have 1 unit that could do some fire now. That's the slinger there. So I will not use that. I mean, this could really come handy in the future. We have 2 line commands and we have a light. I mean, this is kind of a good hand for the more skirmishing based Persian army here now. So I'm gonna, if I select the light troops, I can only do 4 units actually. That's not too good, but here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play the light troops anyway now, and I will start with this flank. I want to get in position before the Greeks can get control of that mountain. So 4 units. let's bring these 4. And I'm gonna do some... Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, let's do that. So these guys will actually rush 2 forward, they cannot battle by that. These guys will march 1 forward, they can throw some javelins. These guys will also rush up here. And let's bring those bows up here. So now we have a nice flanking hook here, and we have actually 2 battles to do as well. So let's start here with the auxiliaries. They can throw 1 die. Okay, they got a flag, so we actually forcing some of these guys to retreat. It's 1x because it's auxilia. Then we can do a bow fire against that next one. It's also 1 die. That's also a flag, but this time the Macedonians are supported, so they will stand their ground here. But they are... Well, it will not be easy for them to push through here, that's for sure. So both sides opened up with a light troops command. It's interesting and very traditional. So, Alexander, the Macedonians, no line commands. So the new card, okay, we have loads and loads of troops on our left hand side we could activate. Should we take advantage of that? And we have an order mounted as well. Well, we also have 2 in the center. But I mean, I'll start using some of these left-hand cards now. We could at least do some skirmish attacks with that bow unit there. We could even go on the attack with Parmenio if we want to. I mean, a good blow here would be really nice because they have, well, they can retreat 1 flag, but then they start losing, you know, if we roll some good flags here. Bad thing, if they stand the ground, they will be adjacent to a leader, so they can hit us really hard here. So maybe it's a bit too... I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take the initiative here with the Greeks, since the Persians don't. So we're gonna go here, and I will actually go on the attack here. Maybe we should go there. Nah, let's go there anyway, because yeah, let's do that. So that's the... No, I have a 4th one. I already started moving, sorry about that, but I should have... Okay, let's take these heavies and just attach them with the center line here. And by the way, I think I didn't mention that, but that's Craterus, who's located here in the center, the command of the phalanxes. So now he has all his guys, a big phalanx line there. Okay, so let's do it. I'll start with some bow fire here against that light horse. So it's 2 dice. No hits, a flag which they can ignore. And now I'm gonna actually do the close combat before I do that one. So I'm gonna attack here It's 3 dice, and I hope actually to get some flags here. I got 1, that's not enough, but still we got 1. So 1 block away, and then they have to retreat. 1, 2, and 3. And now, you know, I can go 1, I can go 1 more and attack again. And this time I will do that, but I will go off that river again and attack Nabarzanes now with 3 dice. I'm gonna challenge those guys. And we got in 2 hits. Really good. So Kraterus is doing very well up here, and we're gonna see the fate of Nabarzanes. He's fine. This means though they can fight back. They only have 2 dice because it's light cavalry. But they did a good job. 2 hits actually on Parmenian's medium heavies. That was not good. That was not good for Parmenio. Pretty bad actually. And we're gonna see if he survived that clash. Yeah, he did, but again, pretty close. So he's in a really dangerous position here now, that's for sure. He could be attacked by some cavalry here, but let's see. At least we can shift the focus here. So I think those guys fired already, but we haven't thrown the javelins here, so I'm gonna throw the javelins against this lone guy here. Let's hope for a green. That would end it for those guys. And that's a blue, so it's a miss. That's too bad actually. Okay, so that was it actually. Well, scared off some of the heavier cavalry here and got a good hit on those guys, but they survived. It's the Persians, so what should they do? Should they continue here, do something in the center, or answer here? We could now... Another line command, really? Oh, I didn't play that last time, alright. So I have 2 in the center, Dark in the Sky, or a line command. A line command could achieve pretty much here. We could order the whole bunch here and do loads of skirmishing fire, I guess. Especially if we descend from that hills, if we dare to. That could be really cool, actually. Or we play the Dark in the Sky, and that would mean we could attack with 1, 2, 3, and 4 units. That's not bad. That's really not bad. I like both options, so I'm gonna roll. So 1 to 3, I will play the Dark in the Sky. 4 to 6, I'll play a line command and see what happens. So it's the Dark in the Sky. So Darius gives the order to unleash all the missiles here. So it's gonna be loads. Yeah, it will really be a Dark in the Sky. Okay, one problem is these guys are adjacent to an enemy, so they cannot. Can they even be that? Yeah, they could. If we could manage to scare off those guys with that fire, I mean, we have 2 chances. Then we can attack those guys with the next fire. So I'm gonna take my chances to do that. And I'm just gonna take a big check here to see that I haven't missed anyone who could actually fire. No, I think these are the guys who can do it. So let's start on this flank. So we have 1 guy here, and they have 1 target. So we're gonna attack those auxiliaries. We have 2 dice. First was a miss. Let's do the second one right away. And now we got a flag and a hit. Good, we're starting to wear those guys down here. So I'm gonna continue against that same unit. Oh, actually we could take that flag if we wanted to, but nah, I dare to stay here in line with the guys here. So let's put in some more fire. It's a flag. No, let's do the second one. And another hit. So now it starts getting a bit dangerous for these hypaspists here. Okay, that was the slinger. Good skirmishing here from the Persians. And now we need to get Parmenion away here. Preferably we kill those horse there. So we start with the auxiliary unit, and it's 2 dice. Well, we got the flag, but you know that's not enough because he can ignore that. Question is, he probably want to take this flag now. Yeah, I do. I'm gonna go, of course, back to my lines here. I think it would be crazy to stay there. So the second one goes against that light cavalry then. And we got 1 hit on those guys. Good. And we still have Napatane's light cavalry. Another hit and the flag. And I think he cannot even take that 1 flag. 1, 2, 3, and he needs to go a 4th, and he cannot, so he's removed. And by that we got the Persians getting the first victory banner in this battle. Interesting start, right? So, amazing skirmishing by the Persians here. They just... Okay, they took some hits from the initial charge, but they really bite back with some missile fire. And good attrition war here at least. And this is actually the main goal for these guys. This is attrition war. They're gonna wear those guys down and hopefully plucking some banners here and there from the Macedonians by that. So, Macedonians, we need to go forward now. Counterattack. That would be a Dark in the Sky, but... Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 units who could do the Dark in the Sky. I don't think I'm gonna do that. No, what I'm gonna do now is actually do 2 units left. And this means I can also detach a leader. So I'm gonna actually detach Parmenio now, and the other guy to activate this bow. So Parmenio with now he can go up to 3. I think he can go through units as well. With 1, 2, 3. Okay, he cannot reach. I was hoping to reach that guy, but well, let's go here to the other phalanx then. And these guys just pour in some fire against that light cavalry, hoping to get it now. And also get a banner by that. No, they're unlucky with the rolls here, so nothing there. Well, I got the feeling that the Persians are the guys who start this best and have somewhat control of the situation here. And, you know, repulsing the Macedonians' efforts to do some flanking maneuvers here. And perhaps they have better cards as well. So now we have an outflanked, a line command. What can we do with the outflanked? We could... Well... Don't know really. Or the line commander, we could do what we thought about last time, to move up the whole force here and get in some more javelin. So, with the outflank we could of course relocate Nabartanes here. Nabartanes. And to get him to another unit instead of this weak light here. So maybe we're gonna... okay, I got two pretty good options. So it will be 1 to 3, 4 to 6. Okay, it's a 5 this time, so they go for a line command. And that will be the flank here. So I'm gonna activate all of these guys. I'm gonna remember now I can only move 1 hex with the guys. So we go here. Let's go down here. These guys, no. Yeah, we there. Let's do it. Go here. And then I could move here actually. The bad thing is I'm blocking those retreat paths, but I'm giving them support so they can hold their ground for a while. And since we're up in the mountain, I think I dare to do that. Also, another bad thing is if I move here, I still have a line, so I could use another line command here. Maybe we should go here anyway. Yeah, let's not be too bold here and move forward too long. These guys will stay put because they can put in some good fire now. And let's stop move forward with some more lights here. That's kind of good. So let's see what we have. We have a 1 die attack against those auxiliaries. That's a miss. Let's fire from here. It's 2 dice against that weakened guy there. 2 flags. He can ignore 1, so he needs to take the second one, and I think he's happy to do that. Too bad he now is blocking Alexander's path here. So now we only have 1 target left with those guys. We're going to throw 1 die against that auxiliary. That's a miss. And we still got 1 die attack coming against that bow unit there. And that's a miss. So there was a line command. And I think this is enough for now. So, as I said already, my impression is that the Persians are in control of the battle in these initial moments of the battle at least. They have taken control of the mountains here. They successfully did repulse the Macedonians. Well, they did that. They tried at least. They did a charge, even though they are weaker down here on their left. But they tried, and they scared off some heavier, and they got some hits in. That's for sure. But they also took some heavy hits, and you know those guys got a victory banner. The Persians in the center, not much happened. We have seen some Greeks going down here in the Persian line from some initial skirmishing, but otherwise here's where we have seen maybe the most activity, or perhaps here as well. Very much cavalry clashes here already on the splashing in this river, Pinarus River. All right, that's it. Let's close this video for now, and thank you for watching. Hope you will be back for part 2.